Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Bakes here, and thank you for joining me for day number 17 of my 31 Days of Horror. Today is my first foreign... No, it's not actually. Caught myself there. I was about to say my first foreign movie of the 31 days, but that's a lie because I remember doing Deep Red very early on in the 31 days, and not too long ago I just did VHS 94, which had a foreign segment in it. But either way, I'm just making this intro longer than it needs to be. Today I am reviewing the original 1998 Ring movie. A lot of people are aware of the American remake to The Ring, which came out in 2002, I want to say, starring Naomi Watts. But I think most people are aware that there was an original one that came out in the late 90s, and that's what I'm going to be reviewing today. This was a second time watch for myself. I'd seen it once before. It's not really one I come back to overly often, even though it's sort of a staple of Asian horror, I guess. But getting into the plot for this movie, for those who I guess don't know, there is a reporter trying to investigate this mysterious videotape where apparently if you watch the tape, after it's all over, you get a phone call saying that you are going to die in 7 days. This reporter ends up watching the tape and she receives this phone call, and now she's going to try and find out the mystery behind this tape, its legitimacy, and try and stop whatever's going to happen after the 7 days. So there's the plot pretty much for The Ring. When I was taking notes for this review, as I do sometimes while going through the movie, I kept comparing it to the American remake, which I guess is fair to do because it's the same movie, and some things the original does better and other things the remake does better. So I think it's fair to compare movies sometimes, but I want to try and keep this a standalone review because I'm not doing a comparison. I'm not reviewing The Ring from 2002, the American version. I'll do that another day. But one thing that I do want to quickly say before I get off the topic of the remake is I'm not sure if this is controversial, but I do think the remake is the better movie of the two. As I said, I'm not sure if that's controversial or not. I know there are big fans of the American version, but I guess just let me know in the comments which version you like more. But with that being said, this movie's fine. Like, it's watchable. It's not like offensively bad or anything like that. My only thing is, like, it doesn't really do a lot for me, and I do think that it's kind of messy at points, if I'm being honest. I honestly don't even find this version of The Ring to be overly that scary, where I feel like the American version is genuinely pretty creepy. But I guess getting into the things that I like, right after the opening scene of this movie, first of all, the opening scene is like really fucking solid. It's the same opening as what you get in the American. I'm going to stop comparing the two. I don't know why I keep fucking doing that. I've seen the American version way too many times. As I said, this was only a second time watch, but really good opening to the movie. It's pretty much a cold open, but I love as soon as the opening credits finish, after the opening of the movie, you get right into the investigation, which I love. It wastes no time getting into that. Obviously love the concept, this curse, this mysterious videotape where, you watch it, you get told that you're going to die after 7 days, and, if you're going into this movie blind, you're sitting there thinking, like, fuck, what is going to happen when the time runs out? And I just find that to be really engaging, and it was really engaging with this rewatch as well. I do enjoy the team up between our lead and her ex-husband. I found that to be a stronger dynamic of two characters teaming up in this movie. And I like the balance of, like, the ex-husband is the skeptical one, even though I think as the movie goes on, he starts to realize, okay, shit, like, something isn't right here, but he, like, pushes it down to sort of keep the situation calm. And then you've also got, the lead, our main character, who is a lot more immersed in it, and she's, like, freaking out. If it wasn't for the ex-husband, I swear nothing would be getting done in this movie, because she is breaking down, like, way too much in this movie. She's constantly freaking out, and he's the one trying to bring her back to reality. But I do like that dynamic in this movie. Now, I guess moving on to the things that I didn't really prefer with this movie, the storytelling and the flow and everything like that was honestly a little bit choppy for me. There were multiple times in this movie, and there's two examples that come to mind right now, so I know there's at least twice this happens. A question arises in a scene, and then literally it's solved in the next scene, and I know that might not sound like a big deal. You're probably listening going like, what? And maybe I haven't explained it the best, but there's like moments where a question comes up, and 2 minutes later, just in a separate scene, it's answered, and it's like there was no room for that, like, mystery or that question to brew. And it almost just feels like it's padding to the movie, like they're just stocking up on scenes for the sake of it. It's like that could have been answered in the same scene. Like, why is so and so and so, and then they flip through a newspaper and it's like there, but instead they have to do it in another scene, and sometimes it's like solved by a different character and you don't see how they've solved it. Like I just found those sort of things a little bit messy and a bit annoying, I guess. I think towards the back of the film the mystery becomes like overly complicated, where I feel like it doesn't really need to be. Like it goes into like mind reading and connections with the sea, and that's just a few. Like there's definitely some other things that came up that I've kind of forgotten about already, just because at a point it kind of feels like overloading and again just padding for the sake of it. It's like, well, you don't need all this, I guess. I honestly don't really like how the movie ends either, as in there's like this big final scene which is like pretty cool, but like literally the final 2 minutes of this movie, like I don't really like that ending, because if you want to watch it as a standalone movie like I have for this review, I mean technically you still can watch it as a standalone movie, but it's left so wide open to the point where, you know, what it's setting up for itself, you almost need to watch the sequel to see how it's wrapping up its own narrative. I do remember the sequel to this one kind of well. I've only ever seen the original Ring trilogy once each. But I do remember how like that movie opens and sort of what's going on in that. And it's just kind of like I wish this one had just a little bit more of like a tight bow on it, you know, just really conclude it so it can be a standalone. And I feel like you can still sort of pull off what's going on in the sequel without making it such like, it almost feels like an episode's ending and you got to go on and watch the second episode, you know. I just wish it was a little bit more tight knit. I think I've pretty much said all I want to say. Like I said in the intro, I didn't want to keep comparing it with the remake or anything. The remake I've seen maybe 4 or 5 times in my life. This one only twice now. So I'm a lot more familiar with the remake, and I do think it's the better movie. Again, let me know in the comments below if that's controversial or not. I actually kind of don't even know, which is weird to think about. But yeah, I just feel like a lot of the storytelling and mystery in this one, even though the concept is cool, just it's a little bit clunky with how it's going about it, and I think it could be simplified and just some things sort of ironed out and whatever, and I think that's what the remake kind of does well. But getting to my rating, like I don't think this movie's terrible or anything, I just feel like it's very much in the middle, so I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I'm sure a lot of people would probably be higher on it, even though I don't know which version of the movie they prefer, but yeah, a 5 out of 10. Like I said, it's pretty much right in the middle. It's not a terrible watch or anything. It's a movie that if I need to come back to it in a year's time or whatever, like it's no skin off my back or anything like that, but I think it's a fine movie. Like you're pretty much getting my thoughts here within a 20-second bubble. I'm just like, yeah, the movie is fine. But thank you for joining me for day number 17, guys. Over the halfway mark now. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the series. Keep dropping your comments. I've really been enjoying the comments so far for this series and people's thoughts on these movies, so I want to see them keep coming in, and I'll see you tomorrow for day number 18, guys. Peace.